Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com.
Fall is all about cozy comforts, but when you're prioritizing your health, it's easy to feel like you're missing out. With Hero Bread, you can enjoy all your fall favorites because they're made with Hero Bread sliced bread loaves, tortillas, bagels, dinner rolls, and more. Try their all-new Hero Noodles with 12 grams of protein and just 80 calories. You won't believe Hero Bread's options have 0 to 5 grams net carbs and are high fiber from the taste and texture. They've even got small batch drops of indulgent favorites like the popular Hero Croissant. And right now, Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's FALL25 at hero.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains 2 to 18 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road across from Rufino's. Welcome to the Monday edition Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charlie Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Jordan Kinch is back in the studio. Troy Mackel will join the show, get us an idea of what's going on with tonight's national championship game between Indiana and Miami. The college football season comes to an end. The NFL playoffs provided plenty of drama over the weekend. If you like a good turnover, this was
oh gosh,
this was your weekend. Big full slate of college basketball as well. LSU men and women both winning this weekend. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You staying warm, man? I got
trying
sunshine and cold temperatures, but that's okay. It's January.
Mm-hmm.
We watched 4 divisional games in the NFL playoffs, and you know the biggest. I was trying to think of what's the biggest story, okay, of the 4 games. Well, in order from me, the Bills losing and then firing Sean McDermott this morning, okay. The Rams-Bears game, Caleb Williams, the miraculous, and then the ending, the domination by Seattle, the collapse by C.J. Stroud, the Bo Nix injury. There's a lot, but mostly it was just the teams that made the fewer mistakes. And man, when you talk about the number of the sheer number of, you had half of these quarterbacks turn the ball over 3 times or more in these 4 games, and that was it. It was Matthew Stafford was saying after the game, this wasn't my best game. I think it's the first playoff game he hadn't thrown a touchdown pass. Like, look, man, you had a 0 under the INTs,
yep,
under the fumbles. This weekend for a quarterback, that's a great game. That's a great game.
With Ciola, I think it's Belichick, or at least a lot of people, old school people, will say, you got to worry about not losing a game before you can win a game.
Yeah.
And that's the way it was. It was the Stroud was just, we knew he was struggling coming in. We knew it was some. But my gosh, I mean, this was it's like he was playing blindfolded, man.
Did you think they were going to replace him in the second half?
At half, guess what? So they was trending on the internet.
Davis Mills,
number 1.
Yeah,
number 1.
Everybody's looking to see who is their backup. Who is their backup?
Oh well, we saw him pull them out of the. Yes, I didn't know, but I mean.
But just Garden Variety fan watching this game is like, wait a minute, who is their backup?
No. I'm saying to a friend. I mean, I'm like, you gotta seriously consider going to Mills. I mean, it's not working, and I mean, he was even some of the misses, the non-turnover plays. I mean, he's throwing like one hopping it to guys in a flat.
He could have thrown 3 more. He really could have thrown 3 more.
The balls were bouncing off of guys that were new. The weather.
He was lucky to get out with 4.
If the weather's right, yes. Your turnover-worthy plays,
yeah.
The next-gen stats and things like that. So, yeah, absolutely. This was a poster child for one of those. If you think it was bad, it was way worse, And, Yeah, that's. I mean, it just.
His look of bewilderment was. It reminded me. I said this last week because it reminded me last week. It reminded me of Aaron Brooks, who we watched win a playoff game in New Orleans, first ever playoff win, and then 2 seasons later, looked like he couldn't figure out how to throw the ball from here to there. And I'm not saying that's going to happen with Stroud. Brooks was a lot deeper into his career, but man, we've seen ball players really good. This happens in baseball a few times. The Rick Ankiels or the Steve Saxes or the Chuck Knoblauchs. Just all of a sudden, these guys that were all-star caliber players, their game just goes to pieces, and nobody. It's more psychological. This is 10 turnovers or 10 fumbles and interceptions. He didn't lose all of the fumbles in 2 games in the playoffs,
and it had been building.
Yeah.
I mean, this didn't happen overnight.
No.
I mean, but it is deteriorated. It's like it cannot rebound. And how was he going to rebound? And it was such a tough handicap because Houston's defense is so good, and they're going to keep you in the game. And New England is a little unproven, man. I mean, sorry, but we're still wondering how good they are. I mean,
Drake May turned the ball over 3 times yesterday. If not for what was going on the other offense, Drake May, this MVP candidate, probably finished second in the award.
He'll probably
had a lousy day. If you turn the ball over 3, not as lousy as the other guy, but not good.
We've seen successful quarterbacks in regular season have struggles in the postseason.
Yep.
It's harder. It's harder to the defenses seem to be leveled off a little bit because of, this time of the year because of the conditions, but also because they're just going to let them play a little bit more. They're going to get away with a little tug and things a little bit in the secondary. But, Charlie, I just can't I can't get over the NFL. I mean, or the Super Bowl might have a backup quarterback and just – there's teams you pull for, and this team it's a rating. The ratings is going to, this matchup will generate the best ratings and things like that. How many times we sit there on a Sunday at the sportsbook and like, well, it's a game. You got two backup quarterbacks, a backup quarterback. Yeah. The Super Bowl. And I mean, no matter what we think of Bo Nix, it's a major drop off.
We've had backup quarterbacks in the Super Bowl before, but not this late in the season. I mean, guys that had to take over, Jeff Hostetler, Vince Ferragamo, Nick Foles, they all took over at some point in the season. They were backup quarterbacks at the beginning. The last guy to start a game this late in the season at the NFC Championship game level was his first start of the season was Roger Staubach. You got to go back to 1972, and even then he was sharing time with.
Is that against Miami?
The championship game was against San Francisco, and then they played the Super Bowl against Miami.
Yeah, they got smoked by Miami.
Yeah, he had been
Super Bowl
he had been alternating with Craig Morton. So when you got to shove a guy in cold like this, Stidham hadn't thrown a pass in an NFL game in 2 years. That's tough.
No, Dallas beat Miami. What I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think of something else, but anyway, Foles came in. I remember the game where Carson Wentz did the helicopter. It was in Los Angeles against the Rams.
It was in November, wasn't it?
I'm trying to think.
It wasn't at the beginning of the season. It was very
deep.
end.
It was pretty deep because Peterson used their bye week to kind of redo there because he really struggled.
Wentz was the MVP
they barely beat. What's that?
Wentz was the MVP frontrunner when he went down,
yes.
so you were deep enough into the season to know that.
Yeah. So, but he had some terrible games. I mean, some really bad games, and then it was the Atlanta game. They weren't really that good, and then they kind of retooled some things for the conference championship game and Super Bowl. They were a different team offensively. They kind of studied what he was doing before with Chip Kelly. And that made him sick because he had some starting experience. How many games did Stidham started?
4. He's 1-3. Those were with the Raiders. So, that year Carson Wentz started 13 games that year, and that was back in the 16 game schedule. So Foles had 3 regular season starts. No. And
they were underdog at home in the conference championship game.
Wentz missed the last 3 games and still finished third in the MVP voting. He was really good that year up until the point where he got hurt. We don't. But I don't. Do I want to see Jarrett Stidham in the Super Bowl? Not really, no.
But Stroud, this Stroud thing is, and then you take away Nico Collins, which is his biggest weapon, and it was. And look, Vrabel's going to do a good job. You know, I mean, he's going to take away Christian Kirk, who had kind of caught Pittsburgh blindsided last week when Collins went down with the injury, and Stroud made some decent passes in that game.
The very first drive, Kirk dropped what would have been a first down reception on a third down and medium. He hit
yesterday?
Yeah, the very first drive, and Kirk let it. I thought about you. Kirk lets the ball get into his chest and it bounces off.
Yeah.
That would have been a first down. I don't know how much further.
Made a great touchdown catch though.
He did.
But I mean, you got the lead. Mm-hmm. You got the lead 10-7, and then man, just you throw the ball up. You just can't throw the ball up like that, man. And Charlie, I was thinking this too. Complimentary football. Kind of hearing that a little bit more. What is complimentary football?
Complimentary football means that you are way better on one. To me, you're way better on one side of the ball than the other. So you do something that will enhance your strength. If you have a great defense, don't put them in bad positions. Run the football, kind of control the clock. If you have a great offense, and on the other side, you can afford to take more chances. You go after turnovers. You don't have to play 60 minutes of 15-point defense. That's what it means to me.
It's exactly what the word complimentary means. Okay, this is to win the game. The best approach to win the game. If you are a sieve on defense, you better make plays.
Right.
You got pressure on you. When you have the best defense in the league, what is it? It's okay to punt.
Yeah, punting is fun.
So protect the ball. This is the complete opposite. I'm sorry, man. If you pull Marcus Stroud, JT Stroud yesterday, if you pull Stroud yesterday, you're never going to get him back. Man, you got to win the game, dude.
Yeah, I'm going to worry about that way later down the line.
If they want to talk about that forever I don't care, man. We're in a divisional game. He has no shot of winning today. He is going against everything we talk about as far as, man, our defense. I mean, did you see the pressure they were putting on? May just didn't have a bad day. That's a damn good defense. And you just throw it away because you're throwing the ball away.
May fumbled 4 times in the game yesterday because of that pressure. I mean, look, Will Campbell is going to be a fine player in this league for a long time. He had a
rough day.
Will Anderson is
He's
one
not
of the
ready
top,
for him.
No, Will Anderson is one of the top 3 or 4 rushers in the league. He was not ready for that as a rookie, especially one that has missed some times. I'm on a text thread. I'm in a fantasy football league in Houston with 10 guys from Houston and 2 guys from Baton Rouge. So I'm on that thread, and I can tell you that the 10 out of 10, they're all Texans fans, okay? They all, to a man, wanted Davis Mills in that game. Okay, I didn't even respond to it. I'm just watching the thread yesterday. All of them. So if Davis Mills plays the second half yesterday, now all 40 of these interceptions were in the first half. So if you replace him at halftime, does Houston win? I mean, it was 21-10 at the half. That's my only question. If you would have replaced him at the end of the first quarter, which they weren't going to do, then I think Houston's got a great chance to win the game at halftime. I don't know. They were down 2 scores. I don't know if Mills can generate 2 scoring drives in the second half. Maybe. We'll never know. Would you have replaced him?
Huh?
You would have replaced him, right?
Oh, you know me. Come on, man. I mean, the complimentary football, Charlie. What's your deal? I mean, did he protect the ball?
No.
Is he following the game plan?
No.
Is he? No. Man, this guy went out. This was a joke, man. This was unbelievable.
He didn't protect the ball. Josh Allen didn't protect the ball. Drake May didn't protect the ball. Caleb Williams made some spectacular plays we're going to talk about, but he didn't, and I don't think the last interception was really on him as much as it was on DJ Moore. But he didn't protect the ball. We saw a lot of this weekend.
The defense gets a little bit more of an upper hand and better in the postseason, but who's one of the weaker defenses in the playoffs? Maybe San Francisco?
Well, Buffalo was what I would have said.
Okay, Buffalo.
Yeah.
Let's say, Josh Allen's got to make plays.
Yeah.
Okay? He's got to make plays. This makes his performance so much worse than it really was. Because you got the best. Come on, man. We watched them again yesterday. Who's got a better defense?
Than the Texans?
Nobody.
No.
Come on, man.
I mean,
did you see what it took?
Did you
see what it took to get a touchdown on Stingley?
Yeah.
I mean, Boutte had to make.
Great throw.
I mean, my goodness. And I thought the interference was highly questionable. right before that. He's looking back. He's
He
looking
is.
back. You can look back. You can play the ball. I'm sorry. It's not these guys like the Buffalo-Denver game where they have no intention of looking back. Trying to face guard and just time it and everything.
Unfortunately, the officiating is going to have to be discussed because we can't let what happened in the Denver-Buffalo game and then what happened in last night's game, same damn play, and they rule it two different ways. We'll talk about whether you saw it that way.
Yeah.
But different officiating crews. Here, Chris's Specialty Foods.
Yeah,
man.
we talked to Chef over here today, and we got the smoked ribeye po' boy is our sandwich of the day. The chef's recommendation over here at Chris's. So a lot of people come over here and get a burger, a po' boy, plate lunch, and things like that. So when not in addition to all the prepared foods that we do and the stuffed chickens with the crawfish or the shrimp and the things like all the different we've got. Steaks, we've got stuffed pork chops, we've got the sides, like my favorite, the smothered cabbage, with the bits of sausage in it. I mean, green bean casserole, mac and cheese. I mean, different rice dressings, crawfish pies. I mean, you name it over here, we have it. So we're over here at Chris's on Highland, right across the street from our friends over at Rufino's. So we're over at Rufino's on Friday. We come over here on a Monday. We also have stores in Lakeview area in New Orleans and also on Millerville, which is also our commissary as well. Central, we are no longer open over in Central, just to give you an idea there. So closest one probably to Central is over at Millerville, but still going strong over here. Our hours, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then Sunday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Lunch is served Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you know what? Right around the corner, too. Could do a little some boiled crawfish on Friday nights, a little live music and things like that. When we get a little bit closer, deeper into crawfish season, we'll keep you up to date on that. But good to be over here at Chris's Specialty Foods.
Live at Chris's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
And we welcome you back here. Remind you can always get the show on demand, 1045 ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. We got a new Handycast podcast dropping tomorrow night with the remainder of the transfer portal class, at least what we think is the remainder of the transfer portal class film on them. All brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com, serving our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. By the way, Matt Moscona did tweet out that Jordan Seaton's dinner reservations tonight in Baton Rouge have been canceled. He was in town yesterday, the big tackle from Colorado that is apparently going to talk to Oregon as well as the rest of the teams that he's talked to. So see if anything happens with that later on today or tomorrow. Jimmy, the one game that was the clunker was Seattle. I thought the 49ers had a really good chance in this game. We used the word suffocating in that last regular season game when Seattle beat them 13-3, and they did. They had a huge yardage edge, huge first down edge, control of the game, yet they weren't able to put it away until very, very late. That went to the fourth quarter as a one-score game. No such issues in the game on Saturday night. When you go to the trade deadline and you add a piece, if you think you're right there, it's like, man, we just need one more little piece, a guy that could make maybe one play to win us one game or help us win one game. You think the Seahawks are happy that Rashid Shaheed was available. And the Saints got a 4 and a 5 for him. I get it. But he's only caught 15 passes in 9 games, so they haven't used him a ton on offense. But the big punt return against the Rams to kickstart when
they were down 16.
To kickstart the comeback, they end up winning that game. And then you open the game with a kickoff return. Two of the biggest plays of Seattle's season in games that they had to have, and Shaheed makes both of those plays. They get out to a 7-0 lead, and Boy, 88 out the gate, man. That was it got ugly.
I'm a little surprised that he is not incorporated into the passing game as much, but you can see they're trying to use him, and they respect his explosive capabilities by not just putting him in a return game. And we're not talking – Saints didn't have him on kickoff and punt return.
A little bit, not full time. A little bit.
I mean, so this was the third kick return that he has. All have dealt with lead changes. It was tied at half in the game in Atlanta, a game that was very, very close until boom, opening kickoff, second half. He goes the distance, and they never look back. We talk about the down 16, middle of the second half, and he returns the kickoff to kickstart that, the 2-point conversion. Boom, it's a one-score game. They come back and win that one. That's why they were the 1 seed instead of the 5 seed. And then the opening kickoff, and the underdog comes in with a lot of injuries, and it just, I mean, a tough place to play against a tough opponent, a rested opponent, and they hit you with that to start off the game. I mean, it was just too much to overcome. So, it's not sustainable, Charlie. It's not dependable. I don't know if it's sustainable, but you can't go in like, oh, yeah, man, we should get a return kickoff for a touchdown or a return punt for a touchdown. But he can do it, and when he does it, and it just eases the whole deal. Darnold, okay, never had a playoff win. So – I mean, hadn't exactly started a lot of games, but he hadn't had a playoff win, and so he comes in. Don't you think that eases his nerves a little bit as well?
Absolutely.
I mean, the first, he's
pitching with a lead now.
He's never going to take a snap when they don't have the lead.
Right.
Pitching with the lead, like you said. He's on the road, and his team came up with 3 in the top of the first. Yeah.
We talked about the oblique injury on Friday. Took him out of practice. Didn't throw the ball between Thursday and Saturday. But the line never really moved all that much. It ducked to 6.5 for, boy, you had to be on top of it for a hot minute. But the rest of the time it stayed at that 7. He came out. He didn't have to throw the ball a lot, but a couple of those, those
you could have never told. You could never tell that
he's ripping it on the outside the numbers.
And sometimes that's not the case. You just don't know.
Right. Yeah. Their running game took it over. Their defense was phenomenal. San Francisco could never really get anything going.
Well, the ball, the play where he slides to his left and rolls to his left and has to throw a bullet in the back of the left corner of the end zone to Smith and Jigba for the touchdown, that is all you need to see to like, oh, no, that thing's okay. Now, did he feel it, the next morning? Because they shot him up a little something that was going to ease his pain, maybe so, but he did not have any limitations. Once you saw that throw, like, oh no, this oblique is not limiting him in any way.
Once we get past the analysis of these games that we're going to get all day today, and the McDermott firing and that story, in the back part of the week, is the story going to be that the real Super Bowl is in Seattle on this weekend?
Well, you have a lot of those, but I mean that's been that was Houston and Louisville and Albuquerque. I mean that happens a lot.
These 2 games were among the best games of the regular season. Seattle and Los Angeles played twice. The total margin of victory in the 2 games was 3 points. Yeah. So this is as good as it gets. Whoever wins this game, you tell me. I know over the Broncos, but what would they be over the Patriots? Both of these teams would be favored over New England as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you're going to – and if Denver manages to pull the upset over New England, it's going to be even bigger than that with Jarrett Stidham playing quarterback.
Like I was saying yesterday, I mean, Denver's going to be an underdog at home with the backup quarterback.
They are.
It was actually a little bit more than I thought. So, 4.5 is where it still is.
5.5 now, DraftKings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I understand why. On the other hand, Jarrett Stidham could make himself a bunch of money in the next 2 weeks, next 3 weeks. Imagine if he had 2 big games. A lot of teams looking for quarterbacks.
Well, the Rams winning yesterday has actually forced the Seattle line odds to win the Super Bowl bumped up a little bit because they think that now the Rams got out of Chicago with a win. That's their biggest hurdle. The odds makers believe, is the Rams. And look, we were after that game on Thursday night where Seattle, unbelievable comeback, but the ramifications, pretty much everybody, maybe recency bias, but everybody's like, we're going to see these two teams again.
Sure.
A lot of people thought so. Now the Rams had to go and look
2 road games.
Neither
one of them easy.
Chicago's 20 yards away from getting in field goal range to win the game. They scored the winning touchdown in Charlotte with how much time left? Less than a minute, huh?
50 seconds is what sticks in my head. I may be off a little bit, but it was late. Very late. Very late. So
it's these lead changes, it just increased in the fourth quarter. So you just had a lot of it's a lot of ugly football, but a lot of drama as well. So right now, DraftKings Seattle plus 145 to win the Super Bowl. Patriots plus 255, Rams plus 225, in Denver at 11-1. Sean Payton, huh? That's a tough blow. And who would have known? Who would have known? Watching the game, watching the plays after, watching the interview after with Tracy Wolfson. Who would have known this guy broken his ankle? He's done for the year.
I felt like I don't know if you remember this. Mike Martin, the longtime coach at Florida State, he got into the one of the last one-game championships against Miami, but they had to go 15 innings a day before to do it. So it's like, yeah, I made it to the championship game, and I got no pitching left. That's Sean Payton in this.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings, 296-0060. Our great team at Legacy Title. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Chris's Specialty Foods, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. 3 best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
Troy, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, nothing much. Just, getting ready for a big night of college football and trying to look back at a wild weekend of NFL football and some pretty solid hoops on the college basketball court.
Yes, indeed. Let's start with that. What are we looking at? Where is the line currently? I saw it trickle down a little bit from that 8.5. It got to 9. When Paul Stone and I were doing the Bet Rivers podcast last week, it was 9. I ain't seeing any 9s out there right now.
No, it's back at 7.5. I'm a little surprised because, the money and tickets hasn't really changed. We're still looking at 84% of the money line money, 79% of the tickets on Indiana to win outright. That tickets maybe have come down. I think on Friday when we talked, it was at 80%. So, a little bit of money line tickets on Miami. Spread money was 79% of the money, 73% of the tickets on Indiana. That really hasn't come down much. 78% of the money, 85% of the tickets on the over. None of this has really changed. On Friday it was 8.5. Earlier in the week it was 9. I figured we'd be sitting around 8.5, 9. I was also figuring that there'd be more money coming in on Miami. Maybe we'll see in the next few hours. But I'm a little surprised it's at 7.5. But maybe I'm sure we'll get to the NFL games. But I was salivating all over the fact that the 49ers Seahawks game didn't change at all, not one bit. It was 7. I think the entire time, and I couldn't wait to jump on 49ers plus 7, and we all know how that turned out. So maybe the bookmakers know something we don't, but I'm a little bit surprised it's not bigger.
So still Indiana action tonight, and still the line is going down 7.5. There are some 8.5s out there as well, but not a lot more 7.5s that we see. Troy, how many states that you guys, or what's the percentage of states that do the college sports props, the individual props?
Ooh, it's so we're in 18 states, and I would guess I should know the actual number, but I think it's probably only 6 states.
Okay,
so it is a third maybe. Gotcha.
All right, who are the big winners and losers in the NFL this past weekend? How much money's flipped hands on that 4th and 4 run back 40-yard heave to the tight end with under a minute to go?
Well, I mean, ultimately, it didn't. Well, actually, I should take that back because the Bears +4 was like the third most wagered on play of any type of play all weekend. And if they don't get that, they were down 7. And so the Rams hit. So that certainly helped, even though they lost and they lost on a field goal. So the Rams took 2 big shots at the end zone in overtime, and that would have killed the cover for the Bears, even though they still lost. So that was big. I mean, as you'd expect, the Bears money line was the most wagered on play of the entire weekend, and I would reckon it's probably one of the 3 or 4 biggest plays of the entire NFL season. Obviously, we're huge in Illinois. We're the largest brick-and-mortar casino in the state. We're the second largest online sports book in the state. And, it's a hometown state. If they go for 2 and get it, or if, they don't throw that interception and they kick a field goal and the Rams don't kick a field goal, we're singing a different song today. But the big winner was honestly the sports book. Mid to high 6-figure wins on every game. And a little bit surprising that includes the 49ers Seahawks. The public was just like me, thinking Darnold, I can't trust him, and he's injured. And the 49ers are playing very well. Yes, it's in Seattle, but 7, that's way too much. So, we even took money on that game because so many people were back in the underdog. Same with the Bills, Broncos. We had far more money on the Bills than we did the Broncos.
All right, Troy. Brandon Cooks, catch, no catch. Get a lot of discussion about that. And we had a very similar play in the Bears-Rams game last night. Yeah. What did you think?
Initially, there's a catch. And I was heated about it. I'm not a Bills fan. I'm not a Broncos fan. I was pretty heated that's a catch. But then I retooled how I needed to say that. And I thought that was a catch. It should have. I can't see how you could call it an interception over a catch. And if I were a referee, I would have called that a catch because in my opinion, he had control of the ball when he hit the ground, and that should have been a catch. Or if you wanted to say he didn't have control of the ball, then because he immediately hit the ground, it's an incomplete pass. For there to be no review was a bit they couldn't challenge it or no review or something. At the time, I was also finishing up my 2-year-old's birthday party, so I had a lot of stuff going on at the time. But I would have called that a catch. I think it's a highway robbery that it went the other way. And I think the narratives about that, Josh Allen is a fraud or he blew the game, when that was as controversial play as we've had all year.
Okay. So what are we looking at for we've seen the Seattle actually tick down their odds from 140 to 145 or so. What are we looking at the odds to win a Super Bowl now?
It's a little bit closer. Seattle plus 150, Rams plus 220, Patriots plus 240, and Broncos plus 1,300 to win the Super Bowl. And for the sports book, a Seahawks-Broncos Super Bowl would be the best result possible. It's kind of wild that the favorites to win the Super Bowl, having them play in the Super Bowl and win would be a great result. But we took very little action on the Seahawks all year. Even when they had long odds, we didn't take a lot of action. They were slow to move up the leaderboard, and we never really took a ton of action. I think there's just a perception about who Sam Darnold is, as people don't trust him to win the big games, and maybe he's still having to deal with some of that Jets stench. And same with the Broncos. I think because of the division they play in, the teams in the AFC, who are the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, obviously, even the Chargers took more money than the Broncos, despite the fact that the Broncos won like 10 in a row or something. So, a Seahawks-Broncos game in the Super Bowl would be a massive win for the sportsbook.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Everybody's off the Broncos now. I thought the line should have opened up about 3.5. It opened up 4.5. It's been bet to 5.5. So nobody is looking to back up, to back financially the backup quarterback for the Denver Broncos at this point. I think that I think that's going to be a way more competitive game than people think. But we will see. The interesting thing with the Rams and Chicago game last night that we haven't discussed yet today, I mean, the Rams went right down the field with very little resistance and popped in. How about if you laid the 3.5 or had plus 3.5? You're a spread player in this one, not just the 4th and 4, 40 yards a heave to the tight end, but taking 2 shots to the end zone when you are in field goal range, and ultimately you knocked it down from there. I mean, including Nakua had it in his hands. I mean, we've seen him make tougher catches than that. That's for damn sure. I mean, I was like, wow. I guess you have a quarterback you trust.
That's what I was thinking, too. He trusts Stafford.
Oh, well, there's no doubt. I mean, he allowed him to throw those throws. I mean, that goes without saying.
I don't know that there's any other quarterback that the coach would have trusted to make those throws playing this weekend.
Not this weekend, no.
Well, so my only, I was totally fine with it. With one hesitation is that their kicker. It was cold as hell, very windy in Chicago. Their kicker they picked up in Week 9. He only really had like one bad miss all year, but it was in that Rams game in a pivotal moment. 3 weeks ago. From like 45, 40, or 49 yards, and the conditions were brutal. I would have liked, and now we've seen, teams, obviously, players get injured on kneel downs and weird plays where you're trying to move the ball to the center of the field. I would have just tried to get a little bit more yardage on the ground, taken a shot at the end zone. I'm fine with them taking 2 shots, but I would have liked to see them, just because they're dealing with an inexperienced kicker in frigid conditions, who had missed a critical shot, just a few weeks ago in a high-leverage situation. I would have liked to see them get some yardage for him to play with to make it a little bit safer.
Did they lose yardage on the first down when they ran the ball? I think they did.
Yeah.
And so maybe because they weren't going to just run it into a crowded front and lose more yardage. So that's what they were doing right there. They went to the tight end at the top, and then they went to Nakua at the bottom. But I mean, both had single coverage. He's throwing it away from. I mean, the only other quarterback they trusted, and probably he shouldn't have, and that guy's out of a job right now, and that is Josh Allen. They would have trusted him making that throw, and you see what's happened there. Hey, Troy, busy week in college basketball on Saturday. What stuck out to you?
Yeah, I think the Vanderbilt game, Florida. Florida had really struggled earlier in the year. Obviously, the different roster than the team that won the national championship. But Todd Golden's a really good coach. They got 2 guards out of the portal, and it didn't really look like it was working. Xavier Lee and was it Boogie Fland, I think.
Yes.
And it's Vanderbilt's a tough place to play with that weird court and that weird arena. Vanderbilt's obviously been really good. That was just a really hard-fought game, and no team's going undefeated this year. It's just not going to happen. It's very hard to do in college basketball. But I'm just continuing to be more impressed with how Florida has rallied back. Thomas Harrell is got to be in the contention for SEC Player of the Year. Just very impressed with what Florida was able to do on a very difficult road spot.
It was the roster is coming together. We kind of identified that about 3 or 4 games ago. And after they went to Columbia, Missouri and lost their conference opener, they've been lights out, beating some really good teams pretty handily like Tennessee and Georgia. But, Lee looks more comfortable. He looked just out of sorts with them earlier. I mean, it's chemistry. I mean, they got to work on you got identifying your role and getting comfortable with your new set. And it's also a program that a young coach that hadn't had to deal with a national championship hangover. But a critical possession in that second half. A 7-point trip by Florida in the second half turned a slight deficit into a slight lead. So a hook and hold, flagrant, which you get 2 free throws in the shot. Another putback after you were hook and hold. He got the rebound. He got fouled on the putback. So 4 for 4 at the free throw line and a 3-pointer and a 7-point trip in the middle of that second half was a key possession in that second half at Florida and Vandy. But that was a really, really good one this past weekend. Follow Troy on Twitter at Troy Macker. That's MACHIR. Troy, who you got tonight before we let you go?
I think it's got to be Indiana and probably Indiana cover. If I'm really diving deep into it, I do half betting. probably, second half over. I think that's just how the trend of Miami games and Indiana games have gone. I think it could be slow to start. That's how Miami has played. Miami really needs to play a perfect game or a clean game, no penalties and matriculate the ball down the field. But Indiana is tough as they come. I'm very fascinated to see how this game starts out. But I do think, Indiana is about 7.5, 8 points better. If it's 10 points in the fourth quarter, it could quickly become 21. But Carson Beck is seasoned, polished. He's got all the things you need for a guy to rally back. So I'm very intrigued by how this game goes. Wouldn't be surprised if Indiana wins big, but also wouldn't be surprised if this comes down to the last possession.
That was just over 1 minute into the second half in Nashville. Vandy led 49-44 after the trip. They were down 51-49. Chinehu hits all of the free throws, and then Hauk makes a 22-point three-point shot. Follow Troy on Twitter at Troy Macker. That's Machir. Troy, good stuff, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Charlie?
Sir.
Live at Chris's Specialty
I'm
Foods.
sorry. This is my cue.
We're live at lunch.
Yeah, we're brought to you by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff. Look, the aches and pains, the ailments, the things over the years, back pain, muscle soreness, neck pain, things that are keeping you from moving around as well. That pain just kind of takes control of everything you're doing. You can't move around without thinking about it. Maybe it's costing you a good night's sleep. Let them help you out. They get you adjusted, get you into a program that'll target those problem areas, just get you to feeling better, loosen some things up. If you do need to get into a dry needle or electric nerve stimulation, cryo or ultrasound therapy, they can help you out there too. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla. Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Live at Chris's Specialty Foods, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
Come by and see us here for lunch at Chris's Specialty Foods. It is the MLK holiday today, so there's a lot of college and pro basketball on this afternoon. All of the college basketball is the smaller conferences. There's one or two A-10 games maybe, but all of the smallers. But the NBA's got 5 afternoon games, including one between the Thunder and the Cavs. That goes at 1:30. That is on NBC.
Kind of the highlighted triple header is on NBC. And it starts at 1:30 with the Thunder and Cavaliers. Cavaliers kind of a slow start. They're digging a hole in the division, about 7 games behind Detroit, who's been one of the big surprises in the Eastern Conference this year. But Thunder and Cavaliers, that's going to be a good one. And followed up, but you go, of course, to Madison Square Garden with the Mavericks and the Knicks. And then later this evening, those upstart Pistons hosting the Celtics. 7 o'clock tonight, so a little triple header on NBC, but staggered games throughout the card today. What about 9 games? 9 in the association today.
Put the Knicks on in the prime spot.
What's that?
They put the Knicks on in the prime spot.
They sure did.
I mean, the Knicks are good.
Good,
they're
but they're not leading their division.
They're not
right
great,
now.
but they're
even with Boston, and they think that Tatum might come back late in the season. They're kind of playing with their food a little bit.
Okay, that would be something to keep an
Mavericks,
eye on.
of course. How much do we have? Anthony Davis inactive.
He's out.
He's out. Yes. Yes.
I'm just shocked.
Yeah, he hasn't played much this
shocked
year.
To my core. We'll take a break. Come back in hour number 2. Got some college basketball. LSU men and women, both winners. College football playoff summit. That's what I'm calling it. Happened yesterday. We'll tell you what happened there. And, of course, the national championship game tonight. Here at Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road across from Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
And return here at Chris's. We got a pretty happening lunch special today. I'm pretty
smoked ribeye po' boy, Charlie.
That sounds really
good. Yes.
Looking forward to that when we finish up here at Chris's after the show today. Come by and see us for lunch. Maybe you got the day off. Come by and say hello. We are on Highland Road across from Rufino's. So the national championship game is tonight, which means that yesterday there was the meeting, the summit, whatever you want to call it, among all the Power Conference executives about what they're going to do with the playoffs. They've moved this deadline a couple of times. The hard deadline is this Friday. The hard deadline coming from ESPN, of course, because they're the ones that got to put all this stuff on television. So this is all the Power Conference executives, plus, of course, Notre Dame. I'll save you a lot of time going through all this. The SEC wants 16 teams. They want 4 Power Conference champions to get automatic bids. They want one Group of 5 team to have an automatic berth, and then 11 at-large, 11 wild cards at-large, whatever you want to call it. This would be able to go into action next year. You would have no buys in the first round, so you would increase the number of games on campus, and there's a lot more money to be had here. The Big Ten, and really the Big Ten and the SEC, everybody else that's in there, including Notre Dame, is window dressing. 2 men are going to make the decision on this. The commissioners of the SEC and the Big Ten, Greg Sankey, Tony Petitti, are going to make this decision. The Big Ten they are willing to go to 16 teams for 2 years, maybe 3, and then they want to go to 24. And 24 teams, according to the Big Ten's proposal, is 4 AQs from all of the power conferences, 2 out of the Group of 5, and 6 at-large berths. And that's where the standoff is between the Big Ten and the SEC. The Big Ten will agree to 16, but not for any longer than a couple of years, and the SEC won't agree to 24 at all. So we're 4 days away from keeping this status quo at least through next year, Jimmy. I'm sorry. I'm fine with the idea of going to 16 teams, adding no buys in the first round, and everybody plays. Going to add some on-campus games here. I'm good with that. I'm fine with keeping everything with this bowl structure. I'd maybe personally kind of rather see more of these games on campus, but all right, I can live with that. You lose me at 24, though. I can't pick 4 ACC teams that I wanted to see in the playoff this year. I don't think I can pick 4 out of the Big 12. I'm fairly certain that there's going to be a limited number of years, that number being 0, where I want to see 2 power Group of 5 teams in this thing.
Nobody wants to see 2 Group of 5. We saw it this year, and it's done. It's not basketball. You can't get hot from the 3-point line. You got to have some size, some speed, and some strength. I mean, it just
So I don't want to see
you saw the ratings. I mean, who wants a Tulane James Madison doubleheader again? It's horrible.
No, nobody wants to see it. Did you think? Again, depending on the tiebreaker, do you think Georgia Tech deserved to be in the playoff this year?
No.
Okay, that's the top 4 in the ACC.
Oh my gosh.
SMU. Did you think they deserved to be?
No.
NC State was right there. I could have lived with Duke going in because they won the damn game. Okay, but I'm not going to find 4 teams out of there.
Yeah, they beat that juggernaut.
We watched.
Virginia.
Yeah. We watched the Houston Cougars. They played LSU in the bowl game. Did they deserve to be in the playoff this year?
No.
They were 4th. Okay, they were 4th. Texas Tech, fine. You could have twisted my arm and talked to me into BYU, but I'm done at that point. So you're going to put all the 2 Group of 5 teams, all of this that I just talked about. I don't. That doesn't work for me. That's not what – I don't think that's advancing college football. I think 16 is a workable number. It's a reasonable number. I think that the Power 4 champions should get in, and if it happens that one gets in with multiple losses the way Duke does, okay. If it happens that way, it happens. I don't know how much longer you're going to have 4 power conferences anyway.
It's a 24 and the 2. I mean, is that to try and try and offset the controversy of the committee, choosing Miami over Notre Dame?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, okay,
and this doesn't offer any protection to Notre Dame. This is a Big Ten thing. It's much more that.
But the process that, okay, well, part of it, too, is that, all right, how'd the team do that they get in? And I understand that resume, it counts for something, how they looked. How do they look? Are they able to compete? Miami.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that counts for something.
They competed
and so
pretty well.
that should – I mean, I know it's not everything. I know it's just a part of it. But it is a part of it. And, man, leave the committee, I mean, they did have to switch their head in the middle of it. And, yes, it shouldn't take where two teams get next to each other and then that it counts more. It's kind of silly. But still, I mean, Notre Dame's schedule was awful. I mean, and they're going to get in more times than not. With one less AQ, Notre Dame would have got in this time. And you know what? They would have been fine, too. Because I think I've seen enough of them to know that even with a light schedule, they had a pretty good team. I'm not saying how good, but pretty good team. It would have been favored against all but maybe two teams in the field, including Miami. But it's just the 24 dude. I mean, it's still a business. I mean, what do we owe the group of five to this point? Why are you making more concessions? I mean, who in their right mind? I know the TV people want to say, "Oh no, we don't want this again." How can you want that? I mean, the games are over immediately. Immediately.
And that's just one game. The third and fourth teams out of the ACC and the Big 12. I'm sorry, you're going to get more clunkers, and those teams are not playoff teams. I'm a big proponent of 16. I don't like 24 at all, with one exception. Going to 24 would require a major revamp of the college football calendar, and it would push the regular season back into week 0. It would eliminate the conference championship games, which I think is coming. The SEC is not going to acquiesce to that until they are confident that the playoff money will make up for it, and not across the board for the league. I don't know how much money the rest of those conferences are making with their league championship game, but the SEC, that's a cash cow. So they're not going to give that up until they're sure that they're going to get that money back plus some more. And this would eliminate that game. I don't know that they can come up with that in 2 years. Say, okay, yeah, we can replace this money to your liking and everybody else's liking.
It is losing its juice.
I think it has served its purpose, and it is time to go. I'm all for moving back into week 0, 2 bye weeks for everybody, and starting the playoffs at the first week in December. I'm fine with all that. I just don't think we need to do it with 24 teams.
Ooh, August football in Death Valley. Ooh.
Play it at night.
Play it. Yeah.
But it's January the 19th today. We're finishing the college football season. We all agree the calendar's in need of some fixing, right?
Yeah, because you got, but they at least they came back and said the portal's not going to be open till the end of the championship games.
Well, it's only open for the players that are in there to still get in it. It closed on Friday for everybody else. I think the big thing with the portal and the calendar is you want to have these kids in school for spring. And, well, LSU's already been in school for a week. Most of the other spring semesters have started. You can start late. But I think everybody would be more comfortable with the college football season ending for all but 2 teams on New Year's Day. If you come back and play the national championship game a week after that, a week, 8 days after, that's fine. But for the rest of the world, it kind of needs to be closer to January 1st.
How much does school still matter in college sports?
A lot less than it ever has before.
But I mean, is this something that they're throwing out there? I mean,
it matters in that players need to be enrolled so they can go to spring football practice. I don't think they're overly concerned about them getting a chemistry class. I think they're worried about them getting to spring football practice. And for instance, at LSU, the last day to add classes is tomorrow. Okay, after the holiday, can you get into an accelerated program later in the spring? Yes. I mean, there's all kind of things you can do. You know, in the past it used to be intercession. Hey, can we get them eligible with intercession? Well, so now it's this late accelerated thing. It's mostly about spring football, which is why Saban's proposal made so much sense when he did it on game day about you want to slow things down, take spring football practice and turn it into OTAs in May and June, and you won't be in this gigantic rush at the early part of January to get everybody into school, and you got a better chance that these kids staying at their previous school through the spring semester and actually going to class. Pie in the sky, I know, but I just don't see where the SEC is going to cave to 24 teams. Sankey knows he's got probably as much pull as anybody in the sport, probably more. I would put him a little bit above Petiti. We were doing this show in Cleveland, Ohio. They'd probably say the other way around, but okay. I don't think he's going to cave to this. I think he'll say, hey, we'll stay at 12. We're fine. We're going to get our teams in. We'll stay right where we are before we agree to go to 24.
Because their stances are so known, it's how much do they have to go back and say, well, why'd you cave? Somebody's got to cave.
So if you're the Big 12 or the ACC, whose proposal do you like better? The one that guarantees you 4 teams in the playoffs or the one we got now? The one that guarantees. So they are, I think, going to side with the Big 10. I don't know what Notre Dame's protections end up being under that plan. I'm sure it's extensive. I'm sure everything, but all you got to do is have a winning record, Irish, and you get into this thing. But that's why the SEC has said, listen, push us far enough, and they're already kind of exploring. We'll play with us. We'll play our 16 teams. Maybe add a couple, go cherry pick a couple, and that'll be it. We'll play with our 16 to 20, and the rest of y'all can. I was going to say something nasty, but take a hike.
So you have just SEC playing its own playoff?
Yeah, I mean that's a long way out there. I mean that's Armageddon. That's if this whole thing blows
like an
up.
idle threat.
It does sound like you're saber rattling a little bit. I don't know if they would ever actually do that, but it's been brought up.
I mean, I do I want to see?
I don't want that to happen either. By the way, I think a true national champion. We fought this for years in the 80s, Jimmy. Remember we were talking, man, we really hope that the bowls line up to where we can get 1 versus 2. Mm-hmm. But if the SEC champion was in the sugar and the Big 8 champion was in the orange and you didn't have an independent in that particular year, sometimes you were screwed. Sometimes BYU, got the national championship with a win in the Holiday Bowl. I don't want to go back to that where the top teams never play just because they can't agree on a format. But I'm not wild about 24.
The 24 is from my personal standpoint. I mean, your power teams just are going to have no consequences for tripping up. I mean,
tripping up 3 times.
Yeah,
in a lot of cases,
you're good. You lose 3 times. Come on, man. I mean, when the power programs in the league, it'd be. I mean, you got to really fall on your face, not to make it if that's the case. And that's not. I mean, that's not what you want. So, I mean, I understand you've expanded enough to where, well, you got to make more room for some of the teams. I mean, it just keep adding and you adding. The last 2 are pretty damn quality programs in Texas and Oklahoma.
They came out of the room last night, yesterday afternoon, without anything close to a consensus.
I read Dellinger's piece. It's like, they're no progress is being made on this whole thing. I think it was good because it's made so public that this is what they want. But no, I don't want to see Georgia Tech, California, or even Virginia in there. I'm sorry. I mean that's some weak teams, man.
They got 4 days. They got 4 days to fix this. Otherwise, and I'm fine with staying at 12. But because that's what it looks like for next year, I would have rather go into 16 and just get it over with and not have to do this, conference at Yalta every year with these major swings. But que sera.
Total Maintenance, our friends over at Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies since 1980. My buddy Lucas Ragusa has worked in the AC and heating repair business at every level, every step of the way. And now he is running the show over at Total Maintenance. And service today, every day, means same-day service. You call today, you get service today. But right now, these chilly winter temperatures, you might not be thinking about that AC unit a whole lot while you're covering the plants and things like that. Well, now is the time. Up to $5,500 off select systems. You got a unit that is over 10 years old, that was serviced this past summer. It's time to call and get a free inspection and let us look and lay out the options for you, because now is the time. If you're going to purchase a replacement unit, time to do it with up to $5,500 savings on select systems. For Carrier, American Standard, Dakin, and Rheem products, we're factory authorized dealer for all of these, and so that's a great area. So you're not thinking about it now, but you had to try and get that thing repaired, and you got it through last summer, but you're not sure about how much longer. Now's the time to call 480-1000, call Total Maintenance, and ask them to come check it out and just give you an inspection and tell you exactly where you stand.
Live at Chris's Specialty Foods, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
And we're also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, because when it comes to retirement, your situation is unique. Meet with Phil Fontenot and his staff. They can answer the questions that you have about when can you retire, how much will you need to retire. Just because you're putting money away every month doesn't mean you're maximizing what you can do. Talk to them. Make a plan. No surprises down the road. You talk to Coastal Capital Advisors, coastalcapitaladv.com to set up an appointment. No matter where you are in life, Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. Member FINRA, SIPC. Men's college basketball over the weekend, a big full weekend, of course, in college basketball in the SEC. LSU got their first win of the season. Let me put out my disclaimer right now. We're going to talk a little bit about LSU basketball today and the rest of the regular season. When it warrants it, we'll talk about big picture, but I think we've done enough of that. I think you remember when Johnny Jones was last year, Jimmy, we at some point in the first 3 or 4 or 5 games, like, okay, look, we understand the big picture.
Right.
We'll just talk about the games. The big picture comes up. We know what this is. So let's just talk about the game here for a second.
I think I made my stance known 2 years ago on big picture.
You did, and I followed you after later. I wasn't as convinced at that point. I am now, but we're going to watch the games.
I'm surprised LSU won Saturday. I thought Missouri was a little bit more solid than that.
Yeah, I give them credit. The manner in which they lost on Wednesday night can have a hangover effect very, very easily, and it didn't. They came out and they ripped off the first 10
points. Talking about LSU against Kentucky, absolutely.
Yeah. That could have lingered into Saturday, and it didn't. They get off to the good start. They played a very clean game. They only turned the ball over 7 times. Marquel Sutton, who I really like as a player, I think I've said this a number of times. I think he's better at his best when he is attacking the goal. And he got to the free throw line 14 times on Saturday. They were feeding him the ball at the high post, and he was going to go. He can score down in the paint. He is a 48% shooter overall, and he can hit a three-pointer. I don't want him shooting a lot of them. He's a 32% three-point shooter, but he can knock a couple down, and he did.
But when you sag on him, he's going to make you pay.
Yeah.
He
shoots it well enough.
You get a good clean look. Yeah, no, pull it. Yeah.
And he's a very good. I like him attacking the goal because he's a very good free throw shooter.
Charlie, his box score, his approach tells you. Yeah. No, that's exactly what you want out of him.
Yeah, and he shoots 82% from the line.
Attack the rim, get to the line. But then again, I'm just going to shoot him enough to make him pay. And when I shoot him, if I get clean looks, I'm going to knock him down.
Yeah.
You know, or a more than decent percentage. No, he was seemed like the most talented player on the court. And and he can be. And I'll tell you
this, I thought he's LSU's best player from the beginning, but
he can be. You know, Thomas is a point guard, and Thomas, even as candy of a schedule as it was, okay, man, he had a lot of assists and a really strong assist to turnover ratio, and that's what really improved. He improved his strength, but he looked like you got a a better version. And then right when you get into conference play, he goes down. So I got that, but everybody's got it. The thing you talked about, the Kentucky comeback, they did it again against against a team, against a coach that's way more established than LSU, trying to, make another change. And AD says, well, not every team can win on campus, so, you don't expect to get a whole lot of support. Who are you going to be able to hire anyway? The whole thing. I mean, Tennessee, to do it in Baton Rouge was one thing. To do it in Thompson Bowling, you got 19,000, and they came out smoking. Man, that's so. I got to look at it and say maybe LSU is a little closer to the pack than I thought. Certainly Tennessee they get knocked down a big notch for blowing that lead. There's no doubt about it. And the one thing I maintain is that this Barnes team maybe it's the most talented, but maybe the least buy-in on what he wants to do first, and that's defend and rebound.
Kentucky started the run. They were down double digits at the half. They started the run. They went on a little flurry right before the 12 media timeout, but they didn't lead in that game until the 34 seconds to go. Mm-hmm. They made the run, and they got close, and they were nipping at them the whole time. But they never actually took the lead until 34 seconds to go. So you're getting down inside of a minute on the road behind, and you found a way to win that game if you're the Cavs.
Wait, how long before they took the lead in Baton Rouge? It's pretty deep there too. Huh?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
One's a 17-point blown lead. One's an 18-point lead against the same team, days apart. It was pretty. The only difference is the world of respect between LSU and Tennessee.
Yeah. That's the difference. We touched on this briefly with Troy. The Florida Vandy game was one of the games we were looking forward to. You talked about the 7-point flurry. They shot the ball really, really well in this game, both of these teams. Vandy managed to shoot 51% from the floor, 91% from the line, only had 4 turnovers, and they lost. Okay, you know how the other team wins with that? Florida dominated on the glass. They dominated on the glass.
Well, that's a given. And when the backcourt can kind of get steady and identify their roles and get comfortable, because Lee shot the ball much better than Fland, and that might not be the case every time. Fland is a little bit more volatile. He's going to light it up some games, but 98-94. That's where we are in college basketball. So what did it take 10 years ago to get a game 98-94 in regulation?
Overtime.
No, in regulation.
In regulation. I'm sorry.
So it's you got to get two teams that just want to run up and down and just are going to, are just going to play so sloppy and give up so many easy buckets and so many free throws, just cheap points. This was a well played 98-94 game. This was good basketball, and that's where we are. And you see it at all levels. They're scoring more in the NBA. Of course, it's a little bit too much three-point dimensional dominated, but Vandy and Florida kind of where I thought they were, and that was a crazy play because Florida opened up a lead early, and then Vandy settled and had that lead, and they had a 5-point lead to start the second half, and that flipped it. They had 7-point trip. And the guy made all free throws. I'd have bet against that. But, Florida is the most talented roster in this league. They have championship hangover. I wonder about all that. But they're getting better and better. And they're just a notch above. The Tennessee is just – I just don't know where he's going to get them to buy in defensively. I just don't see it. This is so different from the team he has. Kentucky is – trying to escape. Buckyball is nice. I guess the other team that I think that might be able to make a run, Charlie, is Ole Miss. I know Chris Beard. I know he took a team, a whisker from the Elite Eight last year, and had his best player back in Malik Dia. He added some experienced international French guards in the backcourt. He added a really nice piece in A.J. Storr from Wisconsin, who's really kind of taken over, and They have won some tough games now and kind of turned in the corner a little bit.
That's back-to-back road wins by a combined 3 points. They win, and I didn't get to see any of that game. I was watching football, but they win.
Always typical. It was a tough game, man. It was It was, packed house in Starkville. I mean, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you brought up the high scoring with the, just get up and down and maybe ugly. Let me give you the example of that this weekend was Georgia and Arkansas. They scored not as many as the Florida Vanderbilt game, but they scored 166 points combined in that game, 35 turnovers. That game, I did see a little bit of very sloppy. Very sloppy.
And Georgia is willing to whatever. And this is not a Mike White deal. Certainly when he was at Louisiana Tech, this is not his style. In Florida, he didn't get it done. There's no doubt about that. He secured the spot at Georgia, kind of feeling the heat in Gainesville. And it's a weird game. They jump out to about 16, 18-point lead, think it's over. Arkansas storms back and either ties it or takes like a 1 or 2 point lead, and then they lose by 14. So it was a seesaw game, but no, Georgia's the number one scoring team in college basketball this year. 365 teams, and Georgia's number one. So to get them at this pace, they are compromising some of the on the defensive end, and yes, they give up kind of some easy buckets along the way.
They shot 40% from the floor and scored 90 points.
It's part of his depth. He's got some athleticism. He got his depth, and they're a good team, and that's a tough loss. They lost in overtime at home to Ole Miss. But Georgia is, even when they lost double digits at Florida, they were kind of close to getting back in that game. Just getting off the bus, they look more athletic than they have in the past. So I think Georgia's going to be, when it's all said and done, they're going to be a tournament team safely in.
We're a ways away from talking about the bubble, but here's a couple of teams I think that we're going to be talking about when we get to that stage that played this weekend. It's A&M and Texas. A&M ends up winning the game by 4. They were outstanding inside the arc. They shot 58% on their two-pointers, but there were only 14 combined, as opposed to the Arkansas-Georgia game. There were only 14 combined turnovers in this game. And after the win, Jimmy, they are sitting right in Bubbleville. Okay, we got a long way to go. Yeah. Texas at 41 and A&M at 42, but we're going to be talking about this all year about how many teams are not going to be anywhere near close to what the league did last year. These are two teams I got an idea we're going to be talking about. And A&M already has 2 road wins and a double overtime road loss to Tennessee. If you can go out and win on the road, play well like that on the road, that's 3 times now, you're going to be dangerous.
I think you and I both agree, the Tennessee game, and I thought Tennessee would blast them out the gym, and it was not the case. That's a tough loss. Don't you think A&M deserved to win that game more in Tennessee?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
there's some bad calls at the end of regulation.
They are that close from 5-0, and I'm like, I'm watching against LSU, and I'm like, this team does not impress me. But then you watch them against Auburn, and that's not sustainable to score 36 points in 6 minutes. All right, remember when they had that 17-point deficit, they turned into an 11-point lead. They outscored them by 36-8 over 6 minutes, man. That's not sustainable. And then they beat Oklahoma and kind of when Porter Moser's trying to grind it out a little bit. And then they give Tennessee all they could handle. And this team is zigging when everybody else is zagging. There are a lot of people press. Nobody really hardcore presses anymore until the last 2 minutes of the game when they got to try and create a turn in desperation mode. They press, and they press hard, Charlie. They're not just trying to get you to dribble and kind of get you set up with your half-court set with about 10 to 12 seconds off the shot clock, and you have to defend less in the half-court set. They're looking for steals. They're looking for tie-ups. They're aggressive, and guess what? They're good at it. They're really good at it. And sometimes you feel like you're playing with – nobody is seeing this type of pressure over the course of the game. So I don't know if they're going to flatten out at some point, but I expected them to flatten out way before this. I did not expect them to go to Texas and win. I did not expect them to go to Tennessee and be so competitive. And so 4-1, this is a team that lost to Oklahoma State, who's not going to make it to about 24. They lost to Oklahoma State. They lost to Central Florida at home by double digits. The SMU, they lost by 13. SMU's probably going to be a tournament team. They're in position to be, and they were very, very unimpressive without Thomas. That's the first game you didn't have Thomas, and that's a 50-50 game against LSU at home. I just didn't see it, but I'm having to change. And maybe when I change my stance, because these are two games they'll be favored at home. They'll be favored at home against Mississippi State. They'll be favored against at home against South Carolina. They go 6-1, and if they play the form that they've been playing, they'll be 6-1, and then. Buckyball. Are you into it? Buckyball, the rookie coach from Sanford over in College Station.
Last one, and this was before the football started, so we did see most of this one. Alabama down 11 at the half, rips off the first 12 in Norman to take the lead right there early in the second half, and then it was kind of back and forth. Very competitive game in the second half, 83-80.
It's one of these when you watch
Alabama
Oklahoma
wins.
play sometimes, and this was Oklahoma was a tough opponent on Saturday. Moser had his team ready. He was on a hot seat last year. They wiggled into the tournament. You got to think he's on the hot seat again. But who's going to come in there at the current player budget that he has? They're trying to scrape everything with their donor base for football. That's their number one. It's a clear number two to basketball. So he's kind of near the bottom of the league as far as his player budget, but he had him ready to play. And Alabama is just, it's just not as good. But that damn LeBaron Philon is every bit as good as a player, even Sears, because he does things so differently than Sears. Sears, don't leave him open. He's got unlimited range. He's going to knock it down. He had a great game against UConn. The first he came back for another year. They went to the regional final. But Philon could score on anywhere in the court, and he has so many moves. I mean, so many moves, and do not sag on him because he is a deadly shooter. He's just carrying his team. He's not a big guy, but 6'4". I don't know if he's 6'4", but he's thin. He doesn't have a whole lot of muscle to him. But, Charlie, he can go. He's as good as a one-on-one player as anybody in the country, even when you got these high lottery picks that are playing their first year of college basketball who look so much more physically developed. There's no comparison. Put DeBonsa next to Philon. But Philon could go, man. He's something.
3 undefeated teams remain in college basketball. Of course, we all had this one. Arizona might have had that one. Nebraska and the mayor and Miami of Ohio, the 3 remaining undefeateds.
Nebraska's a basketball school.
Indiana's a football school.
Clemson's transitioning from football to basketball school.
UCLA's in the Big Ten.
and North Carolina got swept in their conference Bay Series. What do you call that? Weekend?
Bay Area, the
Bay Area
Bridge,
sweep.
Bay Bridge,
Yes.
Cal and Stanford.
Yes.
Yuck.
So anyway, they lose to both Cal and Stanford.
What would Dean Smith think?
Well, Duke won both games in the Bay Area sweep.
What would Mike Krzyzewski think?
Well, don't forget our friends at Downtown Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Your law firm for a lifetime, 343-1111 and ocbrown.com. And, man, the great folks over at Dana Brown. Again, and listen, we don't know if we'll answer any questions that you may have as far as your case. You don't realize it. You don't know if you have a case. You don't know if you're entitled to something. You don't know if your rights are being infringed upon. We're not trained attorneys. That's why you take advantage of that, a free initial consultation. You can simply call 343-1111 or go to the website, ocbrown.com, and there's a main page. You click on and you schedule your appointment without having to bother anybody on the phone or things like that. Call us up, 343-1111, or go to the website, ocbrown.com. Downtown Dana Brown at the law office of O.C. Brown. Both me and Charlie's law firm for a lifetime.
Live at Chris' Specialty Foods, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
National Championship game tonight, 6:30. Jimmy, we saw a little bit of line movement late yesterday and into today. Our book down at Bally's and the Queen, DraftKings is back at 8.5.
Yeah,
47.5.
They haven't, but it's been all morning. They're the one that stayed 8.5, where everybody else is going 7.5. Knowing Johnny Avello a little bit, they are probably loaded down on Indiana and inviting some. He knows that they are the only one at 8.5 right now, and so he's inviting some Miami action to try and maybe even out their books.
And I don't have a great feel on the side for this game. I'm going to play the under, but I'll probably leave the side alone and just watch. The Indiana playoff run has come as easy a trip as you could use a horse racing analogy. This is the horse that got out on the lead. Nobody really pressed him. No dirt kicked up in the face. Good trip. Easy peasy. I wonder if they don't necessarily get like if this game is tied with 5 minutes to go to the half, or if maybe they're even behind, how much different would it be? But now they played close quarters at Penn State. They played close quarters at the Big Ten championship game, and they won both of those games. So maybe it won't matter at all. But they have gone as easy as you can in these two games where they have played with the lead pretty much the whole time.
Sometimes in the regular season you can have those spots. We situational handicap a lot. And, coming off of an emotional win and things like that. But one thing we know that they both played Ohio State recently with no questionable motivation. I mean, a lot on the line, okay? Charlie, one of those games very close, both of them. I mean, the Miami-Ohio State game was competitive, but Miami was a little bit better.
Yes.
I mean, was not Ohio State-Indiana close, but Indiana made the plays at the end to get it. I mean,
13-10 game.
I mean, you watch those games, a line of scrimmage. I mean, it's not lopsided. I mean, Miami, and the thing is, they're already talking about it. When they get off the bus, Miami looks like this thing should be a mismatch. They look like they're better getting off the bus. But we know how tight the execution, how just mistake-free that they are. And they got a better quarterback. I mean, Mendoza's better, period. And he's more trustworthy. They wanted to. And because you got those injuries / first-half suspension in the secondary, you might be leaning on Mendoza a little bit more than usual. And he's got some weapons. And I tell you what, my level of respect went up because he was flawless in the Oregon game. I know he could have been sloppy as hell. They're still going to win that game. I get that. But every ball he put was just where his guy could only get it. I mean, he protected the ball and attacked. I thought it was just really it took me another level up. So I think that's something that there might be a little bit of a flip of the script as far as what Indiana may do, because we know they want to establish the line of scrimmage and they're going to just body blow you at the line with their running game. And then Mendoza pick their spots with it. I'm not sure if they're going to have to try and do that, especially with the first half suspension with one of the secondary guys, that they might do that. But I just think that this line of scrimmage is I've seen enough Miami's defensive line. That's probably the best defensive line in football.
It would be hard to think of anybody who has played better in the last games.
Come on, man. They've ripped to shreds to some pretty good teams, pretty good. And I just don't know if they're going to be able to just run it right at them, a whole lot. Ole Miss popped a long one. Lacey popped a long one. And finally, Ole Miss was able to move the ball. But it wasn't until that front was tired of rushing the passer, late. So that front's going to keep them around. But how do you neutralize the front? Quick, underneath throws, to the perimeter with your quarterback. So I think you might see a little different offensive approach for Indiana. And that scares me because I think Mendoza's really good about maybe Miami not being competitive, because I think the points are too much in this thing. And it starts at the line of scrimmage where Miami is as good, if not better, than Indiana up front.
Won't matter for tonight's game, but I'm going to give you this information anyway. The last 6 national championship games, the favorite has won. The favorite has covered. In 5 of those 6 games, the favorite has covered, not won, covered by better than double digits. So we have not had – last season's game, Ohio State ended up winning by 11. They were favored by 8.5. The 5 before that, going back to the Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence game, have all been very, very comfortable wins for the favorite.
And they could have won by 30 against Notre Dame.
They ended up winning by 11. It probably, definitely wasn't that close, and they covered. We have not had a one-score game in the national championship game since.
So you want to go through Ohio State? Was Ohio State a lot better up front than Notre Dame?
Yes.
Okay. Who was it we year before?
Michigan and Washington.
No contest. Yeah. I mean, Washington, all due respect to the Joe Moore Award, you gave it to the wrong team here. Mm-hmm. I mean, they got pushed around. The one before that?
I'm going to skip over Georgia TCU.
Yeah, okay.
The year before that, Georgia's first title against Alabama. That was
that was a back and forth. That was a
that was a competitive
They were down
game.
to fourth. There was a lead change in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and Georgia tacked a touchdown. They were 2.5 point favorite. They ended up winning about 15.
Long pick six, tacked it on.
So
that game came down to the very end because the line of scrimmage was very. I mean, that was an even matchup. You don't think up front there an even matchup
tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen it. I mean, you've seen Michigan. I mean, Miami. I mean, I'm.
You're on the Canes.
I'm impressed.
I hear you.
I'm impressed. It just. Are you going to hold your nose more with a little bit with Beck when he drops straight back? Absolutely, no doubt about that. I mean, you just got to. Is he capable of making plays? He's got an NFL arm, but he can flat out lose it for you too.
6:30 tonight from Miami.
6:30.
6:30.
Tip. You know, it's 6:30 kickoff.
Yeah.
No way.
That's what it says.
Huh?
6:30.
What's going on?
Get you in bed at a reasonable hour, man.
I think that's wonderful.
I agree. As a fellow old man.
I mean, golly. That's great, Charlie.
Can we get this for some of these other games now?
Nice crowd over here for lunch over at Chris's Specialty Foods. Again, lunch is available Monday through Friday, lunchtime, weekdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So a lot of things that Chef does. The chef, he get the smoked ribeye po' boy today. It's kind of like a French dip, and we get also grab and go over here. The boudin balls, the cracklins, the meat pies and crawfish pies, always in the warm if you want to grab one to go, in addition to getting all the prepared foods that you kind of, with the easy cooking instructions, all the sides, the stuffed chickens and pork chops and specialty steaks and all the stuff that we've become so famous for over here. Don't forget, now serving out boudin king cakes. Had a taste of one last time we were over here 2 weeks ago. Here at Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland, right across the street from our friends at Rufino's. Tomorrow we'll be at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street in Mid-City.
Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gut stuff might be uncomfortable for you to talk about, but it's even more uncomfortable for you to deal with. And you have better things to do this year. Don't let your gut get in the way of that. Kick off the year of the habit and get science-backed digestive support during Ritual's New Year's sale. Their 3-in-1 clinically studied prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotic help support a balanced gut microbiome. The delayed release capsule is designed to help reach the colon where probiotics can actually survive and grow, so you can focus less on your gut and more on sharpening your salsa dancing skills or whatever your 2026 goals are. Start a habit that sticks with 40% off your first month, plus a free gift with purchase at ritual.com/podcast. That's ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.